what's Meta doing? Again, we talked about it a moment ago, but I am looking at this post from Mark Zuckerberg that just hit on Facebook. Have you guys seen
Take one?
Defining year, he calls it, for AI. That's 2025. He expects Meta will be the leading assistant serving more than 1 billion people. Llama 4, of course, is their open source LLM, will become the leading state-of-the-art model.
Right.
Some CapEx numbers in there, too.
To power this, guys, listen, Meta is building a 2 gigawatt plus data center that is so large it would cover a significant part of Manhattan. We're going to bring online 1 gigawatt of compute in 25. We'll end the year with more than 1.3 million GPUs.
Wow. So
and
that,
we're planning
that is,
to, and we're planning to invest. And again, Jim, I think these may be in line with the numbers, so I don't want to say these.
I'll tell you.
60
I know the
to
numbers.
65 billion in capex this year. 60 to 65 billion. That's a number they've been on.
That's,
right?
Well, remember, he has to have. Did he say that Meta AI is going to be number one? Because it isn't. Remember when he said Meta AI was going to be number one?
Yep.
It isn't. And he said it was going to be by last. This guy's look. I think this is
interesting that he chose
that it's going down because I think it's not
that he's put this out.
It didn't have any pizzazz.
Yep. Massive effort over the coming years will drive our core products and business, unlock historic innovation, extend American technology leadership, says Mr. Zuckerberg.
Why?
But again,
it stops trading down on what? What phrase in that thing is negative? What phrase?
Well, I don't know. Maybe to the 60 to 65 billion in capex this year. Maybe that is just reiterating what people already anticipated. I know. I don't know.
Look, Microsoft's doing 80. I mean,
by the way, I would point out
it's good for Nvidia.
What I'm aware of in the financing markets and the way that some of these data center projects are structured, you're actually bringing in a good deal of private equity money. A lot of it in sort of debt or other kinds of financing. But it has the effect of lessening the capex expenditure on paper from a Meta. They are the tenant. Right. They will pay interest in the private credit markets by borrowing there to a certain extent to help as well.
But we should be.
I'm saying that the numbers are even larger.
But that means we should be looking at free cash flow. That's apples to apples.
Right.
And we have to find out free cash flow Meta.
That's a good point.
Okay?
That's a good point.
Because it can't be triggered by a capitalization. We have to get that.
But again, when you just think about Meta just talking about creating data centers that are so large they will cover a significant part of Manhattan. I'm not sure what he talks about in significant.
Well,
you get a sense here. By the way, back to our other theme that we'll endlessly talk about, you get a sense into the challenges for power and things of that nature.
Well, we have to spend so much time on power because we are beginning to get, when I've been dealing with these natural gas companies, they're being greenlit and they're not being talked about, and they're starting to realize why is everything being nuclear? Because nuclear is 7 to 8 years. Okay, 7 to 8 years. And if you go over the GE Vernova quarter, that's why Vernova. Someone downgraded GE Vernova today. That guy doesn't know what he's doing. The GE Vernova they've got all bases covered, but it's natural gas.
But
it's natural gas.
I mean, Parish Data Center in Louisiana is one of the biggest ones for Meta. And again, I'm telling you, the way that they structure this, it's not all their capex, so at least doesn't go down as all of theirs, because in some of it is private credit, it's borrowing from. They're using the Apollos of the world, for example, to provide it. Let's see.
That's the Entergy project.
Right, they're the power provider.
Mark Zuckerberg and Meta quite literally shocked the stock market system when they announced that they were planning to invest an astronomical $65 billion to supercharge its artificial intelligence infrastructure. And it is not rocket science to realize that Nvidia will be the top beneficiary of this deal with its top-grade GPUs. Mark Zuckerberg has outlined an ambitious plan that not only exceeds expectations but could also redefine the landscape of AI. This grand revelation has sparked a flurry of conversations among investors and tech enthusiasts alike, leaving them pondering the potential impact on the stock market and the broader tech industry. Let's dive deeper into the unfolding narrative. Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
The numbers are staggering.
Yeah, and this capex guidance will be hot relative to the street, just about $50 billion. I think.
Okay, that's the number.
So that's what they're going to say.
Jim.
That's going to say it's too expensive.
It's higher. Yeah.
I tell you, if you don't spend. People don't go back over what Jensen said. For every dollar you spend, you get $4 in return. So to me, Microsoft is the leader in this. And I know that Zuckerberg is behind because Zuckerberg, and by the way, Meta AI, I don't know if you guys are using it.
I don't use
really.
It. I use chat. I don't use
really.
Meta.
It's wild card weekend. That thing.
And I got to start using Gemini a little bit.
That does not make the playoffs. Meta AI is not in the playoffs.
We'll talk more about return on some of these investments. Cover the Economist is all about how the Chinese are doing this for a lot less money. But Julia Borston's watching these particular Meta numbers. Morning, Julia.
Good morning, Carl. Yeah, let's just put these CapEx numbers in context here. 60 to 65 billion on CapEx this year, as Meta says that they were going to be growing their AI teams significantly, also saying they'll have the capital to continue investing in the years ahead. He is saying this is a massive ramp up in spending on AI. To put this in context, it's up from $38 billion in CapEx in 2024, and analysts have been looking for 51 to 53 billion in CapEx for this year. So that's meaningfully ahead of that. Zuckerberg also talking about expectations for that Meta AI assistant tool to significantly grow in terms of its reach. So the last number they reported for Meta AI was 500 million at the end of the third quarter. That was at the end of October. Now they're saying they expect to hit 1 billion users of Meta AI this year, so a doubling this year. And just talking more about the importance of AI. Remember, this is a company that pivoted from focusing on ads and social media to the metaverse, and now it's really about AI driving everything going forward.
Meta sometimes does nothing but pivot, Julia.
Well, they are good,
view?
And he's a competitive guy, and the more you spend, still the better. I know there's still this camp out there which says, look, it's got to slow down. And there are a lot of people who feel it's got to slow down. I'm telling you,
it's understated, too. I'm telling you, because of the financing arrangements as well. The
numbers
are even higher.
But you're talking about Blackstone? You're talking about Blue Owl? Who are you talking about?
All of them are providing credit to the building of these data centers. Well, then therefore, Meta pays, or whomever will pay interest, as opposed to just showing even more capex.
Well, why is
which
Musk
they
saying
could,
that? Why is
they have
Musk
the
saying
wherewithal to do it.
Why is Musk saying that on the money?
That's a different situation entirely that you're talking about.
No, I'm just saying that you're talking.
Musk was saying that on the money about the Stargate thing. He's not talking about this.
No. I'm just saying that there are people who think that that new entity, that to get in this game, there's only a couple companies in this game.
There's an enormous amount of capital that wants to help finance a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely.
If it can get a
return's
return.
Good.
And your end user are the biggest companies in the world. Nobody's questioning their ability to pay you back.
Well, the first 100 billion is more than double the cash on hand for SoftBank and Oracle.
Maybe he's got
to sell arms.
Talking about.
Meta's decision to funnel between $60 billion and $65 billion into its AI expansion promises to reshape its technological arsenal. Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management identified these capital plans as catalysts for Nvidia and similar hardware manufacturers. As Zuckerberg eloquently outlined, the company envisions a mammoth data center that could stretch across Manhattan, signaling the scale of Meta's aspirations. It's not just about size. It's about power. A gigawatt of computational might aimed at bringing over 1.3 million graphics processing units online, surely putting a smile on Nvidia's face. Gene Munster predicts the formation of a leading AI assistant by 2025, coinciding with Llama 4 ascending as the benchmark for artificial intelligence. In his words, this could spark a self-sustaining cycle of AI innovation and investment, akin to finding a perpetual motion machine of market growth. But before going on with the video, are you into cryptocurrency? If so, check out our second channel, Investocracy Crypto. We bring you breaking news, expert analysis, and the latest trends in the fast-moving world of digital assets. Whether you're a seasoned crypto investor or just curious about the future of finance, we've got something for you. Click the link in the description to subscribe to Investocracy Crypto now. Don't miss out and stay ahead of the game. Now, let's get back to the video.
In light of that, Meta did say, Zuckerberg actually today said that Meta's going to spend up to $65 billion on AI this year. That's a 50% increase over last year. So these CapEx numbers we do get from these hyperscalers next week, how much are they going to matter to this AI ecosystem at a time where, look no further than Stargate earlier this week, investors are back in that AI trade and certainly going to be wondering what continues to fuel Nvidia from here?
Well, you bring up a great point, Morgan. So Mark Zuckerberg came out, said 60 to 65 billion. What did Nvidia stock do today? It got hit. So it tells you that investors are thinking beyond this to other things like DeepSeek. And did they, in fact, train a model for $6 million? And so if you're cutting your training cost by 1/10 because you're doing things with the algorithm that really help cut down on those training costs, then do you need to spend $100 billion for Stargate or $500 billion ultimately? Can you cut back on that And then does the value really start to show up at the agent level where software sitting on top of these massive hardware models, that's where the value accrues. Like if we can get on and say, book me a hotel in San Francisco for $500 between these days and get me an air flight, and an agent does that all for you and it does it well, then that changes where the value is going to start to accrue, because ultimately I think you end up with the hardware layer getting commoditized and the value accruing to the software layer or agents or however you want to think about it. And I think the hardware training costs continue to drop. And so what you see outperform is going to drastically change. And as you know, I've been saying for a while that we're going to run into an AI digestion phase sometime by the middle of the year. And I think the DeepSeek stuff that came out on Christmas Day actually probably adds to the potential of that happening.
The narrative takes a sharp turn with the entry of political giants like Donald Trump, who criticized the European Union's scrutiny over American tech titans such as Meta. His remark about these actions being a form of taxation adds another layer to the complex web of international tech politics. Amidst these political tensions, Meta's resolve to double down on AI stands firm, promising a cascade of effects throughout the hardware ecosystem, primarily benefiting hardware titans like Nvidia. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
This week's rally as investors bet on continued AI spending this year. Meta hitting a new high today after announcing a plan to spend $60 billion to grow that business. Let's get to Julia Borson with more on that company's CapEx plans. Julia.
Well, it's Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg pre-announcing its AI roadmap and spending plan for the year, saying Meta will invest between $60 and $65 billion in CapEx this year to drive growth of their AI offerings. Now, that 60 to 65 number is up from the 38 to 40 billion in CapEx last year and far ahead of the spending in the low $50 billion range that analysts expected. Zuckerberg saying he expects Meta AI to serve more than 1 billion people this year, up from the 500 million users that Meta AI had at the end of the third quarter. Zuckerberg also announcing they're building a 2 gigawatt data center and developing an AI engineer tool. Now, one place they're going to be deploying some new AI tools is the addition of advertising in Threads. Head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, announcing that Meta will start testing ads in Threads, giving brands AI-powered controls as well as filters. Now, with this news, Meta saying Threads has 300 million monthly actives, and 3 out of every 4 people on the platform follows at least one business. That's seen as a good indication of potential for brands. Now, to put that 300 million number in context, startup Blue Sky reportedly has 29 million users. So I'm sure we'll hear more from Mark Zuckerberg on AI, how it's going to impact all the different parts of their business, as well as some more details on Threads monetization when Meta reports earnings. That's coming up Wednesday afternoon.
The current trajectory suggests a flourishing future for both Meta and firms like Nvidia, with potential for massive growth spurred by relentless AI advancements. Analysts and enthusiasts anticipate the possibility of Meta AI dominating assistance technology, potentially ushering in a new era of digital interaction, with Munster hinting at a spectacular market surge. As the journey continues, the ultimate question remains: will you seize this moment, weigh in, and become part of this technological revolution, or will you sit back and watch as history unfolds? Share your perspective. Finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.